कैसी दिल्ली कैपिटल कैसी लग रही है? इसके बारे में थोड़ा बात करने वाले हैं और कैसी लग रही है आप लोग मुझे बताओ? आई एम डैम एक्साइटेड। So what your thought on this? Let's see.
Important year for the Delhi Capitals in many ways. They've had a topsy-turvy period of late in the IPL. 2013 to 2018, they didn't qualify even once. That was a depressing period for them. Then look what happens in the next cycle. 19 to 21, they qualify every year. I actually thought the team they put out in 2020 was the best team that they had assembled. They made the finals against one of the best Mumbai Indians team assembled either. But that was a great run for those two sides. And suddenly in the last cycle, they didn't qualify in any of the years. And as a result of that, they said goodbye to 𝘿𝕧𝙤𝙀. What is more interesting is they've moved on from ऋषभ पंत. Pant was someone that I thought Delhi had invested heavily in. They were pretty close to him. And I thought that Pant would be their talisman player in much the same way that a Kohli is, or a Dhoni is, or a Gill will hopefully become for Gujarat. But suddenly, no Rishabh Pant either. And so their team is starting to look very different. Their retentions also centered around spin, around the promise of Tristan Stubbs. There's a little bit of upheaval in the ranks. And it'll be interesting if the new coaching setup can take care of that. Now, that is where things also get very interesting because half the cycle, every 2 years, GMR run it, every 2 years, the Jindals run it. It's the GMR setup now, so they've got their coaches that they like. It's a very strong Indian coaching core, but now they've got a very strong personality. Someone I know very well, Kevin Peterson in there. AP has strong views. He's very forward-looking views, but he's a very strong personality. So it'll be interesting to see how 𝘻𝕠𝕪 Badani and Kevin Peterson come through. So that'll be one of the factors for Delhi. The other is what kind of surface do you have at Delhi? Sometimes it's low. Sometimes it's suddenly full of runs. And you plan for what kind of surfaces you're going to get over there. Last year, 220, 230 were routinely scored. In fact, the lowest was what, 189, 190. If it's going to be that kind of surface, and remember, it's a tiny ground, the Kotla, then two Delhi Capitals have the team to produce those kind of scores. So let's look at the team from that point of view, and let's see what they've got. They've got 𝘿𝕬𝕬. Now, 𝘿𝕬𝕬 has got to somehow shed those in that point of view.
यार इसके बारे में ना थोड़ा बात करनी ज़रूरी है, ठीक है? इसके बारे में हेलो ऑनेस्टली इसके बारे में बात करना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी बैटर 𝘿𝕬𝕬 लाइक बैटर को 𝘿𝕬𝕬 विकेट कीपर जैक है टॉप तीनों खेलने के लिए अवेलेबल हैं, ठीक है? सिक पोरेल 4 कृष्ण 5 5 लोग तो परफेक्टली खेलेंगे। ऑलराउंडर में अक्षर पटेल शर्मा, ठीक है? फिर समीर रिजवी भी खेल सकता है बट आई डोंट नो बाकियों को तो मैं जानता हूँ नहीं। एंड बॉलर्स भी आई एम गुड भाई मिचेल स्टार्क नटराजन हाँ शर्मा मुकेश कुमार ऐसे तो कुलदीप यादव है तो मेरा आई डोंट लग नहीं रहा है कि अगर ऐसा होने बट स्क्वाड काफ़ी सही लग रही है एक्सपी थोड़ा सा लैग कर रही है अगर सब अपने पोटेंशियल पे आ जाए तो बहुत सॉलिड लगेगी।
And let's see what they've got. They've got 𝘿𝕬𝕬. Now, 𝘿𝕬𝕬 has got to somehow shed those inhibitions, shed the idea of making 500, 600 runs, and go back to being just this wow stroke player. When 𝘿𝕬𝕬 is stroking the ball, you want to drop everything you're doing and just watch. They need that kind of 𝘿𝕬𝕬 because you look at the power play numbers. 𝘿𝕬𝕬 is among the lowest, just about 125 or thereabouts for 𝘿𝕬𝕬. So for them to be able to put big scores, Rahul has to be a different Rahul from what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. And the good news for Delhi is he has that game, and he has that game like very few others do. They've taken a big punt on Jake Fraser-McGurk, and they've let David Warner go. That was a big call. So Jake Fraser-McGurk comes in. If they want to make it even more powerful, they can actually open with Faf du Plessis, who they've got at base price. Can you imagine? Captain of RCB 1 year. It's a steal to get someone like Faf at base price. They can actually open with Faf and Jake Fraser-McGurk and have 𝘿𝕬𝕬 at number 3. So let's see how that slots up then. Little bit of concern in the middle order. I love Tristan Stubbs. He's one of the best finishers. His strike rate at the end is big. He's one of my big players to watch out for. They've retained him. He's got to play a very big role in that middle order because on either side of him, there's Porel and there's Ashutosh. Ashutosh came out of nowhere last year for the Kings and said, wow, where was he all this time? Now there's expectations from him. It's a different season for Ashutosh, and there's Porel, high on promise, but you're not losing sleep on what Porel is going to do to you at number 4. Now look what happens when they finish those top 6. One of the issues with Delhi Capitals in the past has always been the lack of all-rounders. That is something you see this year too. So how does Akshar Patel slot himself in? I won't be surprised if Akshar Patel moves into the top 6 and pushes Ashutosh down at the bottom to become a finisher. Then Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav. You can't ask for a better spin bowling combination than that. Kuldeep might well say, I wish I had bigger boundaries to bowl to given the kind of bowler he is, but Kuldeep Yadav is a fantastic T20 bowler. So Akshar and Kuldeep, now how do they defend scores? Who they got in terms of pace? They've gone and paid a lot of money for Mitch Starc. With an interesting season at KKR, by the way. Went for a lot of runs. When it came to the playoffs, though, player just announced himself. His performance in the semis and the final was outstanding. So they've got Mitch Starc, and Starc will be fit. He didn't play the Champions Trophy. He said personal reasons, but obviously he'll be trained and fit to play. So Mitch Starc. Then they've got Mukesh Kumar, Natarajan to bowl at the death. And you don't hear too much of Natarajan right through the season. He always bowls well at the death. And I think they could use Mohit Sharma as maybe an impact sub to add to the bowling. if they're going to be traveling, if they need a third spinner, there's a slight issue. I don't see a third spinner there who can march into the side. If there's an injury, for example, God forbid, to someone like Kuldeep, or if Akshar has to miss a couple of games, I think the bowling gets a little skewed. So I'm looking at this Delhi Capital side, and I'm saying that some key players have to have big seasons. 𝘻𝕧𝙁 has to have a big season. Tristan Stubbs has to have a big season. The two spinners and Stark has to have a big season. So if these key players have big seasons, then Delhi Capitals can look ahead and march into the playoffs. But for that to happen, these five have to do it.
Exactly. फिर क्या यार, सबकी अपनी अपनी चीज़ें हैं, बट आई डोंट